You wake up, the world is still quiet, and the first thing you reach for is that familiar, steaming mug. For millions of us, it is more than just a morning ritual, it is the very engine of our productivity. But have you ever stopped to wonder what that dark, aromatic brew is actually doing to the most vital muscle in your body? You have likely seen the headlines, shifting like the tides. One week, coffee is hailed as a miracle elixir that protects your heart and extends your life. The next, it is branded a jittery catalyst for palpitations and rising blood pressure. It feels as though we are caught in a permanent state of nutritional whiplash, unsure if our favorite habit is a silent guardian or a slow-burning threat. Before we pull back the curtain on the complex relationship between caffeine and your cardiovascular system, it is important to clarify that this content is for informational purposes only and does not replace professional medical advice. Always consult a qualified healthcare provider for personal health concerns, especially if you have a history of heart-related conditions. Your health is unique, and it deserves a conversation tailored specifically to your biology. So, where does the truth actually lie? If research suggests that coffee is packed with potent antioxidants, why do some medical professionals recommend caution for those with sensitive hearts? The tension between these findings creates a genuine paradox, a substance that seems to energize our cells while simultaneously challenging our internal rhythm. We find ourselves asking, is the daily cup truly a safe anchor, or are we inadvertently pushing our hearts to work harder than they should? To uncover the reality behind the caffeine paradox, we must look beyond the conflicting soundbites and examine the physiological symphony that occurs the moment that first sip hits your system. Let's journey into the science of your heartbeat to see exactly what happens when coffee becomes a non-negotiable part of your daily rhythm. The alchemy begins in the bloodstream, where caffeine molecules embark on a precise molecular mission. Your brain houses a vast network of adenosine receptors, biological docking stations that typically signal fatigue by slowing down neural activity. Caffeine, however, is a masterful imposter. Its chemical structure mirrors adenosine so closely that it wedges itself into these receptors, effectively locking the door to exhaustion. By blocking these signals, the stimulant prevents the natural brakes of your nervous system from engaging, creating a state of heightened alertness. As these receptors remain occupied, your body initiates a secondary cascade, prompting the adrenal glands to release a subtle surge of adrenaline into the bloodstream. This surge is the primary architect of the physical shifts you feel within your chest. Research suggests that this hormonal response triggers a temporary tightening of the blood vessels, which can cause a modest, transient elevation in systemic blood pressure. Studies indicate that for most individuals, this cardiovascular dance is well within the body's adaptive capacity. The heart does not merely endure this stimulus, it responds with a rhythmic precision that usually stabilizes within an hour of consumption. Yet, the intensity of this reaction is not universal. Genetic variations in how your liver metabolizes caffeine, specifically through the CYP1A2 enzyme, dictate whether that morning espresso acts as a gentle nudge or a forceful shove to your circulatory system. While some metabolize the compound with lightning speed, others experience a lingering internal tempo that persists long after the cup is empty. This mechanical interaction transforms your cardiovascular system into a more responsive, high-fidelity engine. We are witnessing a delicate balancing act between the drive for wakefulness and the intrinsic limits of your cardiac output. But what happens when this artificial acceleration becomes a permanent fixture of your physiology? And does the heart eventually stop reacting to the stimulant altogether? The reality of your morning ritual is written in the hidden code of your DNA. Deep within your liver, a specific protein known as the CYP1A2 enzyme acts as the primary gatekeeper for caffeine metabolism. For those possessing the fast variant of this gene, your system processes stimulants with surgical efficiency, clearing the compounds before they can overwhelm your nervous system. However, if your genetic blueprint dictates a slow metabolism, that same cup of coffee lingers in your bloodstream for hours longer than intended. Research suggests that this biological bottleneck forces your heart to contend with a prolonged surge of adrenaline, often triggering the fluttering sensations or unwelcome jitters that define an overcaffeinated state. Individual chemistry further complicates this delicate internal landscape. Studies indicate that those with underlying cardiac sensitivities, such as minor arrhythmias or heightened autonomic nervous system reactivity, perceive this stimulant-induced pressure with far greater intensity. What feels like a gentle nudge for one person manifests as a frantic, staccato rhythm for another, illustrating that your heart's response is never truly universal. You are essentially navigating a unique physiological map where tolerance is not merely a matter of habituation, but a reflection of your innate enzymatic speed. Even your daily environment and sleep quality act as compounding variables, amplifying how your cardiovascular system interprets these incoming signals. When the body is already operating under the weight of exhaustion, caffeine doesn't just provide a boost, it forces a tired engine to redline, potentially exacerbating pre-existing electrical instabilities within the heart tissue. It is a nuanced dance between your genetic hardware and the external demands you place upon your pulse. We often assume that the impact of a beverage is predictable, yet the internal evidence confirms that your reaction is as distinct as your fingerprint. As we peel back these layers of internal susceptibility, we arrive at a pressing question. If your genetic makeup dictates such a sharp divide in experience, how do you determine if your daily habit is truly serving your longevity or slowly eroding your baseline health? The reality of your morning ritual is written in the hidden code of your DNA. The threshold between a morning ritual and a silent physiological burden is thinner than we care to admit. Pay close attention to the language of your pulse. If you find your chest fluttering with a jagged, irregular cadence, a sensation like a bird trapped behind your ribs, you are witnessing an arrhythmia in real time. When the resting rate climbs, or when you feel that sharp, pressurized tightening behind the sternum, your body is no longer enjoying the buzz, it is signaling a state of distress. Elevated blood pressure, often triggered by the sudden constriction of vessels following a cup of coffee, can leave you feeling flushed, dizzy, or plagued by persistent, throbbing headaches. If these symptoms become your new normal, or if you experience fainting, shortness of breath, or a sensation of impending doom, your body is issuing an ultimatum. An EKG is not an intrusion, it is a map of your heart's actual terrain, far more reliable than the caffeine-induced haze of a busy afternoon. Ultimately, longevity is not found in the endurance of discomfort, but in the wisdom of listening. True vitality lives in the balance between the energy you borrow and the peace you cultivate. This content is for informational purposes only. Please consult a doctor for health concerns. Understanding your own biology is the most significant investment you can make in your future. If this deep dive into your heart health provided the clarity you were looking for, please consider subscribing to the channel. What was the most surprising thing you learned about your coffee habit today? Stay curious, and take care of that heart.